Thanks a lot for the warm welcome and good morning, everybody. I hope you are enjoying the third day of this fantastic event. Today, I'm delighted to be here in front of you to discuss a tremendous topic that is the open innovation, because we consider this is the big ticket, the golden ticket for 2030. Open innovation is a new paradigm that has shown us a new way to collaborate, a new way to create new business, and has challenged the way that we used to work in the past. Gone are those days where solitary geniuses worked in those laboratories, and also gone are those days where startups had their own path, while big corporates had the other path, without working each other together. But today we have here three companies. We have EDP, Enel, and Acciona, that have shown us that collaboration can coexist with competition, and that have shown us that we can create collaborative skills and we can share among this world, and we can collaborate together to build these new businesses. Let's start with a brief round of presentations, and let's start with EDP, with Luis. Welcome. Can you tell us about yourself, and can you tell us about your programs?
Thank you, Tomas, and thanks to the organizers for giving this opportunity. My name is Luis Santos, and I am manager of innovation at EDP in Spain. And well, we have several programs about how to engage with the startup that we'll explain later. Thank you.
Yeah. And Fernando, if you can continue talking us about Enel programs.
So, good morning. I am Fernando Sandoval, head of Enel Innovation Hub Europe. We are a network of 7 teams, 10 physical spaces around the world. We help the company connect with entrepreneurs and position our value proposition for startups and scale-ups, that is venture client. We want to do business with the startups.
Thank you, Fernando. And Javier, we know each other since a long time, but I want also the audience to know you.
Yes, I'm Javier González. I'm an Open Innovation Manager at Acciona. Probably you know Acciona, a large Spanish company working in renewable energy projects, infrastructure solutions all over the world. So basically, open innovation is key for us, and happy to be here.
Okay, thank you, Javier. I take the opportunity also to present myself. I'm Tomás Bobillo, director from Igeneris. We are another player from the ecosystem. We work with great companies, building new businesses. We launch, we find new opportunities together. We launch new products, and probably all of you are our clients without knowing it. So let's start going deep in dive in this world. Luis, what is your vision about open innovation?
Well, my vision about open innovation is that we need to engage with the ecosystem in order to find opportunities. I always use this metaphor about how the mankind approached the food issue. And at the very beginning, they were hunters and gatherers. And later, they became farmers with the discovery of agriculture. And we're doing kind of something like that, because we have some hunting and gathering going into the forest, and this South Summit is like a big forest where we go into to find opportunities and discover new startups. But we also have programs to do some, let's say, farming of startup engagement. We have a program that is called Energy Starter with 3 different modules. One module is specifically devoted to future grids, another module for green hydrogen and renewables, and a third module for client-focused solutions. And in each of these 3 modules, we have a call. We open our ears to the ecosystem. We receive the inputs of the startups that apply to the program. We select them. We have some roughly 500 startups in every of the modules. And then we end up with a set of 10 startups that we submit to a bootcamp where we can have a space for the open discussion with the people from the business units, and so they find the opportunity to perform pilot projects. And with those pilot projects, we test the opportunity of their solutions, and if we don't like very much the solution, then we invest with our venture capital instrument.
Okay, great. Thank you for your vision, Luis. And Javier, what about Acciona? Could you tell us about the current program? So where is Acciona right now in terms of open innovation?
Yeah, well, basically we have a flagship program. It's called Innovation. So Innovation is like, we consider it as an open window for opportunities to collaborate with Acciona. So from the point of view of the startup, this is quite interesting because it's challenge-driven initiative. It means that we are working close to the business, trying to identify the real challenge that they are facing today, the real needs, real opportunities to collaborate with the startups. And also we have a dedicated team just to understand and translate the real needs to the expectations of the startups. This is quite important. The top management of the company are committed to the very beginning, and also we are very focused on co-creation and collaboration with the startups. Okay, it's not just about methodology; it's just to take the most in less time with this kind of methods that we have, and also a real environment that this is not trivial. Okay, just to test, validate new technologies in a real environment like a PV plant, a water treatment plant. A wind farm, so basically it's something that the startups are it's very valuable from the point of view of the startups. And in terms of fostering this co-creation and collaboration, as I mentioned before, is key for us. So basically, this program is very focused on this impact that we can provide through this co-creation stage. And the best thing and the success of this initiative is easy to explain, okay? Because you know probably that Acciona Energy and Acciona are different companies because of the IPO of Acciona Energy, and even talking about two separated companies, we are maintaining this initiative as a sharing platform open to collaboration with the startups, and we are launching new challenges and launching new opportunities to collaborate with Acciona through the point of view of the startups.
Thank you, Javier. I hope all the startups are taking notes to find later on these programs. But Fernando, could you tell us about Enel's, and also why do you think this is the golden ticket for 2030?
So very briefly, we have come with a term in Enel that is innovability. That is a perfect summary of our whole strategy. In Enel, our strategy is aligned with sustainability, so sustainability is the goal. We understand innovation is the tool, so we do innovation by and for sustainability. Then, very similar to Acciona, the trigger of the innovation process in Enel is a need or a challenge by the business unit. So we have innovation units in all business lines that act on a global basis. So the innovation is very close to the business. That is one of the secrets of our model. So we perfectly understand what they need, and we work hand in hand with the business to deliver a solution to the business. Then coming to the open part of innovability, we do not work alone. We work with many different players. We work with universities, with research centers, with major vendors as well, and we work with the startups and scale-ups, depending on the characteristics of the need. So if it is basic research, what we are looking for, we go with a university. If we need something that we need to scale up very fast, probably we go to a major vendor. But there are many challenges that we cover with the startups and with the scale-ups, because we understand talent is not within the company. It's also outside, and we want to take advantage of that talent in a collaborative way. So we do not invest in startups. As I said before, we have a venture client approach, which means we do business with the startup. Bringing it to the sustainability part, it is true that a startup needs money, so investment is a must. But if you want a startup to be sustainable in time, you need to create business. You need to have a portfolio of recurring customers. And that's what we want to be for the startup. We want to be the business. So we, in the model we have, we set up POCs or pilots with the startups that best fit those needs we identify in the business units. And if the POC is successful, if we prove the business case behind the project, either because we want to do something faster, better, safer, then we scale it up, which means the startup becomes a regular supplier of Enel. So far, last 7 years, we have worked with about 600 startups, out of which about 130 have become suppliers of the group. Why is it the golden ticket? I think it's pretty clear. We all have a challenge. We can call it climate change, energy transition, electrification of demand. It doesn't matter. The point is that we need to be fast in order to achieve that challenge, and if we want to do it, we need to do it together. So it is not a matter of doing by ourselves, it is a matter of collaboration. Sometimes it could be competition, but it's collaboration at the end. And the only way to do it is working together, and open innovation has proven to be a perfect tool, and being part of the ecosystem, wonderful way to get in contact with those people we want to work with.
Thank you, Fernando. It's impressive to see where are these companies now, and it's more impressive if we look backwards and we know where we came from. Yesterday we were talking, Javier, about all the stages that you have passed to come up to here. If you could tell us about the past and those learnings.
Yeah, well, since 2017, and talking about 50 projects that we have launched under this umbrella, working with 9 business units, and also 6 editions in 2 locations, in Chile and Spain. Yes, we can identify some evolution, okay? But I think it's not just for Acciona. I think it's in general. Maybe some of the companies that are here, corporates, are reflected in one of the stages. We have identified the first stages like innovation theater, innovation playhouse, okay? Number of events, a lot of innovation days. No matter it's a hackathon, it's a acceleration program. So with KPIs more focused on or related to marketing, that is fine because you are gaining visibility. The second stage is what we call collaboration is the king. We very focused on co-creation and collaboration with the startups, but increasing the number of pilots year by year. More focus on launching challenges, launching pilot projects, gaining more visibility, and also at the end of the day trying to change the mindset of the corporation. I guess like a sense of speed. But the third stage, I think Acciona is now there, is the creation of impact. It means that we are less focused on the number of pilot projects. It's less projects, but more qualified. So we are extending the projects. Let's say that there are more focused on the early stage development, just to identify what are the real challenge with the business, and also align with the expectation of the startups, and also extending in a later stage the relationship between the startup and the business units, just to make sure that we can scale the solution, we can have the buy-in of the organization even before we present these kind of solutions, okay? And more or less is that this is the stages, and also from the point of view of generational impact, how to measure that, okay? That is quite complicated. I don't want to talk about return of investment because it's another conversation, it's a hot topic. We call it a generation of value, okay? That it can be measured in different ways. Not just intangibles, it's more tangibles, but in other ways.
Great. Thank you, Javier. And also, Luis, the other day we were talking about the key aspects when you start working with a startup. If you could please share with the audience.
Well, I want to share with you the basic learnings from our program. We initiated the program in 2017, 3 years before the pandemic. And since then, we have came out to different learnings. The first one is that we specialize our program into 3 different modules in order to have our business units engage specifically in the program where they can benefit the most. And this is going not to distract the people in the business units, talking with startups that are offering value in other segments. The second learning is that we differ two kind of startups. On the one hand, you have digital startups that basically can improve their solutions very rapidly. But there are, on the other side, startups that develop physical stuff. They develop devices that, at the end of the day, had to be connected to our assets. And we all know this concept of the minimum viable product. But we, companies, utilities that deliver 24/7, we don't need minimum viable products. we need maximum reliable products because we, especially people in the distribution business unit, they ask for every possible certificate in order to allow the company to sell their products and connect it to the grid. And this is very tough for a startup because the second largest reason for the disaster or disappearance of a startup is lack of money. And money is time. So if a startup is going to spend a lot of time getting the appropriate permits and certificates, they will die. So we are very sympathetic with the startups that develop physical stuff because we understand that life is very difficult for them. So we encourage and try to help them to accelerate the time to market. And finally, the third basic learning is that we don't work with challenges. We don't work with challenges because, well, we understand and we have understanding with our data, with our projects, is that when you address a startup to ask them to provide you with a tailor-made solution, you may end up with a strained relationship or in a dependency. They will depend on you, and you will depend on them. And we have come to the conclusion that it is better to respect the technological roadmap of the startup. And, well, if they make a beautiful product that is it's suitable not only for me, but also suitable for Enel or suitable for Acciona, it could be the best for the three of us. And we will be able to have a product with a price reduction that will be better for us. So we want our startups to be global champions, not only startups devoted only for EDP. So we have another program that is called Free Electrons. It's a program when we are not alone. We are with several other utilities. It's like the Champions League. And when a startup is successful in our own program, we invited them to apply to Free Electrons when they have the possibility to, well, share the product with utilities from Australia, the USA, and Hong Kong. So I think it's the best for the startup. That the startup wants to be a regular company. They don't want to be a startup forever. So at the end of the day, they want to be global champions and will be the providers of other companies.
Thank you, Luis. And Fernando, we know we have here some corporates that want to learn also about you three. What you could tell them about your learnings from this long journey?
We could be talking hours about it. I have a summary here because we don't want to miss the right message. So first of all, you just said it. It is a long-distance race. So this is not something that you do from one day to the other. It is not rocket science, I believe. It is a matter of process. It is a matter of understanding how it works, how the ecosystem works, how the relationship with the startup works, what you want to achieve, and then learning by doing. There are many different models. We have heard about accelerators. We have heard about corporate VCs. We have heard about venture client approach as the one we have. There's no perfect model. It is just a model you feel more comfortable with. We're comfortable with a venture client. It works for us, so we have tried to master that. So we believe we do it very well. We still have to learn. But it's the main thing. Try to define what you're looking for and what is the best model for you. Then you have to prepare the company for working with the startups. So it's a matter of culture. So there's a lot of, at the beginning of, okay, come and see with the startup, but what is the startup? What do I have to talk with them? So that is the very first part. So it's preparing the culture. The other day, my boss was kind of worried because there are more and more areas within the company that are working with the startups, not taking into account the innovation units. So he was like, what's going on? Are we not doing well our work and they need to go directly to the startups? And we were telling them that we think it is a success of the model because working with the startups is now a regular practice within Enel. We don't need to go through the innovation units anymore. There is the culture, but there is also a process. So we have worked with the legal department, with the procurement department, so we kind of ease how to work with the startups. So we do not ask for, you go and if you want to look for the procurement conditions, if you want to become a supplier of Enel, so probably you need to have I don't know, thousands of customers and you have millions of revenue. So that is not the case anymore for startups. It is not that we have a different process. It's that we have a specific category for startups, and we of course, we need to be compliant. We are a big group, but we ask for the things that we need, that we think we need from the startup when they qualify as suppliers, and it's a much simpler process than when we ask the same for a regular supplier, let's say. This is kind of cliche. I don't know if that is the word in English, but it's, you need the top level support if you want this to work. That is a must, and we have seen it in Enel. We started working with the startups about 10 years ago, but it was about 6 years ago with a change in the management of Enel that the program really scaled up. And again, there is a world outside the company. So every time you go to an event, every time you talk to startups, it's like a breath of fresh air, and that's what it's like the most about my work. This is what I've been doing for the last 10 years. The ecosystem always surprises you. And if you are starting as a corporate now, it is completely different from what we were doing 10 years ago. Now we have a mature ecosystem. It is not the time, probably 10 years ago, if I was working with a startup, EDP didn't want to work with them because they were working with Enel already. It is not the case right now. If somebody's working with EDP, as Luis was saying, for me, that is a guarantee. That they are doing something well, and I feel comfortable introducing it to my business, and the business is more comfortable working with them because they have already a customer of reference for us. So, again, welcome to the ecosystem and take advantage of it. It's wonderful.
Well, thank you, Fernando, and thank you, Javier and Luis, because these learnings are also part of this ecosystem of open innovation. It's important, as we share, we keep building this ecosystem. But I want to talk also about the future. I want to envision that 2030 that we're talking about, the golden ticket that we want to find. And Javier, you can start. We have talked about the third stage of Acciona. What is the fourth stage that you're finding now?
Well, the first thing is keep going, okay? We can't stop it, and I'm sure that all the colleagues think the same. Talking about new things, we are trying to improve the alignment, not with the strategy of the company, because it's clear that we are well aligned with that, but this is the purpose of the company. So the purpose of Acciona is to create value, positive impact in everything we do. It means that we need to provide value and also to create this positive impact. And we are doing today, for instance, is a huge project in Sao Paulo, in Brazil. So we are building a metro line. And apart from the environmental impact, positive impact, we are working in social impact. Let's say that there's training, there's women inclusion, but also we are accelerating local startups just to overcome some of the challenges that we are facing during the construction phase. So it means that it's very valuable, and also to align this strategy of positive impact in the business, but also how to align open innovation with that kind of initiatives, okay? And the other one is we are trying to explore innovation as a service. So what we are doing today is to offer this platform to clients and also partners in huge projects, because we consider that there is an opportunity to reinforce the relationship between partners, clients, and also Acciona. We did in Chile with an example of we invited mining companies to share with us sustainability challenges that they are facing, and let's say that Acciona were chosen, some of them aligned with the strategy of Acciona, but also taking into account the value that can be generated by the startup technology from the startups, okay? So I think it is a huge opportunity there to combine the efforts and the knowledge of Acciona in sustainability with projects, and also why not to explore this relationship with stakeholders, and why not competitors in this case. Okay. Competitors.
Competitor, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Javier. And Luis, what about EDP and also what about the industry, the sector? I would love to know what are the challenges that we are facing altogether.
Well, yeah, I think that we are facing a very big challenge together, and it's the dependency on critical materials. We all already know how to get the benefit the most from sun, from water, from wind, but for those, we need devices that at the end of the day rely on critical materials, namely magnets for motors or wafers for solar panels or for electrolyzers, you name it. Every possible piece of stuff that we use at the end of the day requires critical materials. And there is great concern, not only at company level, but also at the political level of the European Union, that we need to do something. And the solution is clear. We need to develop deeply the concept of circular economy, because we are importing a lot of stuff that includes those materials. So we need technology to, at the end of the life of this machine or this device, get the materials out, make this reverse mining, and well, incorporate these materials again in the cycle to produce a new product. I think this will be, well, strategically an opportunity for companies operating in Europe, and I think this is a challenge for startups to develop, to increase the maturity of technologies, to get the most of machines and devices that are going to end at the end of the day in a landfill. We need to avoid this, because, well, as a society, we no longer can afford to spend a lot of resources that are going not to be again into the circular creation of value.
Okay, thank you, Luis. And Fernando, if you can conclude with 1 minute about the future, so we can project us to those challenges.
Well, I had a different answer prepared, but I want to build on what Javier and Luis have said. I totally agree with you, and you have also mentioned it before. Collaboration is key, and it is not anymore only collaboration between startups and corporates, but among corporates to develop joint projects, working with the open innovation ecosystem. You mentioned, Luis, free electrons. EDP and Enel are also part of Deep Tech Alliance, that is an European initiative with about 24 corporates sharing challenges and working together. You mentioned about how to share also challenges in your platform with others. So that is becoming a trend. We have seen, for instance, last year, I think it was Galp and Repsol launching a challenge, and I think it was carbon capture together. So that is going to be a trend. Then building on what you were saying about materials, in our case, we have worked a lot on innovation in the energy value chain, but we are now looking also into circular economy. There is a whole strategy in Enel about circular economy, and we are looking into our supply value chain as well. Because if we want to be a zero-emission company by 2040, that is the objective we have, it is not only what we do, but what those working with us are also doing. So we are also entering as innovation teams into that part, how we can help our suppliers and how we can work in our whole supply chain to also get the goal. And we are working also analyzing new materials and analyzing how to reduce the footprint of those assets we use, how to better recycle, and how to better take advantage of the end of life of these assets. If I may, I invite you to visit the stand of Endesa. Endesa is the brand that Enel uses still in Spain. And we have there a demo with just a device from a startup from France, EUDEF, that is basically a generator powered with hydrogen. We are going to do a POC with them, a pilot, so that we replace the diesel generators when we do maintenance in the cities with hydrogen-powered generators, so we reduce the footprint of the maintenance activities we do. So just an example of what we do in open innovation.
Thank you, Fernando. We're running out of time. I invite you to visit the Endesa stand, also EDP stand, also to connect with Javier, because you don't have a stand here, but he's here for you to conclude, I want to thank all of you three and also your companies, because you are making this possible and you're making possible this valuable ecosystem. From our side, in Ingenieris, as Catalyst, we will continue working with great companies like you to build the new business of the future and to build business that make better life for all of us. So thank to everybody. Let's keep enjoying the last day of South Summit, and a big applause for all this audience.